everybody. Welcome to the Spiritual Handyman Internet TV show. My name is Jason Antelek, and I am your host today and every day, actually. So would love to let you guys know that you can check us out on YouTube, on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and at thespiritualhandyman.com. Any of those avenues are great places to watch the show, to check us out when we launch live every other Thursday in the morning, and also to check out replays, also available to you through those channels. So today we have an amazing guest. This is a personal friend and someone who's been a huge part of my journey as well, helping me open up. Her name is Sonya Shannon, and she is the creator of the Transformation Oracle. And that oracle, pictured here in one of its earlier printings, is now vastly available, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the reason that Sonya has decided to be and gracefully agreed to be a guest on the show is because her oracle is just so easy to read. It's so amazing to get you started, and it provides for lots of growth and lots of depth. So it's an opportunity today for you to understand what an oracle deck is, how it works, and how you can use it right away. I mean, right out of the gate, this can make an impact in your daily life, in your decision making, in what's coming at you in the future, all sorts of different avenues of exploration from this very easy to read oracle deck. So I'd like to introduce you to the artist and author and creator and personal friend, Miss Sonya Shannon. Sonya, thanks so much for agreeing to be on the show.
Hey, Jason. Hi, everybody. Jason, thank you so much for inviting me. This is really an honor for me. And I just want to welcome everybody to the show and to the Transformation Oracle deck. And looking forward to hearing your comments later.
Awesome, awesome. Hopefully we'll get lots of those. So you guys remember that you can subscribe, like, and comment. Join us in every capacity listed below. And we love to hear back from you guys on your feedback from the show. So Sonya, let's get started here with a little bit of your story and how the Transformation Oracle came into being. What happened for you to get this artwork boosted and help you make your way to creating a deck that's so amazingly beautiful, and my favorite, probably my favorite card of all. I think this is the role that I play more often than not, as the trickster. So help us understand how you got started.
Absolutely. Well, just a little bit of my background. I worked in film special effects. So I started out as a hand animator, and I've always done something in the visual arts. And then my life has taken a lot of twists and turns. And after teaching for many years, people how to get into the computer animation, 3D animation field, I ended up having sort of a 10-year period where I was a bit lost and wandering around in the wilderness, so to speak. So after 9/11, I came out to Colorado, and I really couldn't connect with the work that I was supposed to do. There was just a big gap between what I'd been doing in New York and then coming to Boulder, Colorado. So after many attempts at different things, I started working on a graphic novel, decided I wanted to tell a story visually, and I got partway through, and a friend of mine said to me, you know, Sonya, why don't you create an angel deck? And I was a little upset with her saying that, because I didn't want to create an angel deck. I wanted to finish my book. But the very next day, I got a download, which is kind of like a channeled piece of information coming from a higher plane. And I got all 44 names of the Transformation Oracle deck for the cards. And only 2 of them got tweaked a little bit later down in production. And the rest of it was almost miraculous. Like, not only I got the names of the cards, but I got a specific deadline that Spirit was sort of telling me it needs to be finished by the beginning of August. And so this download came in April, and that gave me just a very short amount of time. But because it was a channeled situation, all of the people and all of the resources that I needed to create the cards came together super quickly. And it was almost like I just stepped aside from my body, and then spirit sort of took over and used my skills and used my abilities to create the deck. And I've always seen the deck as a tool for people that are overwhelmed. We're right now living in a very intense transitional time between the old ways of what we call the Piscean age. And so just to say a little bit about that, the Piscean age is kind of defined by having a single figure at the top and then a pyramid structure. And we're now in the Aquarian age. So you've probably heard that term. What is the Aquarian age defined by? If you think of the internet, where everybody has a voice and it's kind of a web structure where we all have power and we get heard in a new way. So that's kind of like a premonition of what the Aquarian age is going to be. And so this is a tool to help people navigate in times of great stress and busyness. And so for that reason, it's only 44 cards compared to tarot decks, which are usually 78. And it's also a very quick entry into working with an oracle. And so the purpose of an oracle is really to give us spiritual guidance that is above and beyond what we can just know through our own intuition or our own feelings. It kind of affirms, but often reveals other aspects of what's going on and how things are working in the world. So that's just kind of like a little backstory of how I got started.
That was really great. Thank you for sharing with us that the move from New York to Colorado. It sounds to me like once you got here and things kind of quieted down a little bit, that's when Spirit said, okay, all the things that you've done have brought you to this point, and now it's time for you to do this. And I hear a lot that we just kind of have to get out of the way. Could you tell me a little bit more about what that felt like and how you came to that conclusion?
Yeah, and I think you really hit the nail on the head, Jason, because by being lost and not knowing, like, really what had happened for me was my old life was one where, you know, I had a goal. I was going to be a, you know, creative director or filmmaker or, you know, whatever. And then that included, you know, a title and how much money I was going to be making and where I lived and all that kind of stuff. So my life was going in a very particular direction. But Spirit kind of came in with 9/11, with the dot-com bubble bursting. And I think often that's the way transformation happens in life. Maybe it's an accident or an illness or a sudden loss of job, or maybe a change in a relationship like a death or, you know, divorce or something that just turns everything upside down and backwards. And that's what I went through, not once, but a few times. I guess Spirit had to knock me over the head a couple times to get my attention. But when I did come out to Colorado, we had family here, but it was never something that was on my radar as a place to live for work because it didn't fit, you know, what I was trying to be in my old life. And so I think with transformations of a spiritual nature, it's often a little bit of a dark night of the soul. For example, in the Transformation Oracle, there's a card which is called Descent, and it's a story of a pirate going down into a cave, and he's guided by a bat into that darkness. And often that card shows up to say, okay, there's going to be a loss of money, a loss of friendship, a loss of status. But those losses are actually a gain on a spiritual level. That what's taken away is something that's almost like an old skin that we need to shed. And then we end up finding a new, like we grow into this new, or at least this has been my experience, I've grown into this new being. Like part of me woke up that had been asleep before. And instead of having an intention for me to gain and earn and, you know, have this certain reputation, it suddenly became about helping others. Like what makes my life meaningful now isn't what I've accomplished. It's more, how can I be of service today? And I think that's what the Transformation Oracle is about, is having, it's really giving us a chance to look inside ourselves. It's not like, oh, you know, you're going to meet a tall, dark stranger on a corner next Tuesday. And, you know, like it's not like a fortune telling type of tool. It's more to kind of show what's going on inside your being and where is spirit leading you, and where are things in or out of balance, and how can you understand the basic elements, because the deck is basically centered on 4 elements. So if it's okay, I'll just say a little bit about that. So these 4 elements, again, this was all channeled. Each one of them is something that we have already got a tremendous amount of experience with, because we're made of those 4 elements. So they are earth, which is our body, our home, money, material things. Air, which is our thoughts and our mind. Fire, which is the guiding light of spirit, or it's also the energy that activates us to make changes in our life. And water, which is our emotions and our heart. So we're all, in all life, we're dwelling within those 4 elements. And so each of those 4 elements within the deck also has a sacred order. So there's 11 cards. So in each element has 11 cards. And there's a beginning card, and then a bunch of middle cards, and an ending card. And that kind of tells the whole story of what can be done to transform within that element. So that's another sort of aspect. Again, this was channeled. This was not something that I sat there and spent years designing and constructing, you know, the information of it. The information came through me from a source much higher than myself, which I would call God or the divine. And again, so the purpose of it is to help people look at their lives from a different perspective and see some of the forces that allow us to make this type of transformation to a more spiritual way of being.
Those are really great points, and thank you for expanding on the explanation with the elements. I think that's a key part to your transformation oracle, because like you said, we're all very experienced with the elements in some way or another. We may not always realize it, but we've already got a basis for how to read with these cards. And also, one of the things that you touched on, which I think is extremely powerful, and I want to address and repeat, is that a lot of us, when we're lost, we're lost for a reason. It's because we're supposed to be finding something new, or we have an opportunity to find something new. And while not everybody gets a lightning bolt from spirit that says you have from April to August to complete this project, it still does very much put us in a place where we're open and receptive while we're looking for answers. And when those answers come in, sometimes they're immensely powerful, and sometimes it's actually more of a subtle, kind of sign. So I feel like your oracle allows people to address things that way. Even daily pulling cards multiple times can be really beneficial. So what I'd like to do, if we could please, is I've shuffled. I've actually been shuffling because the way these cards feel, the size of them, and the texture, I love these cards. I own 3 of these decks actually already, and we just got a new one. I'm already on board with you. We got a new one. Will you show them the new box set real quick since we're talking about
Absolutely. This has just come out from my publisher, which is Schiffer Books, and Red Feather is the imprint. They're based in Pennsylvania. And I had wanted the Transformation Oracle to be presented as a treasure box. So you can see it's got this beautiful gold treatment, and then you open up the box. I actually took the book out, but the cards are here. Let me just show you. The cards are a little bit different in shape and size than what the previous boutique printings have been. And so they're lined with gold. You can see that this is an earth card here. This is actually the last card in earth, separation. And let me just find a couple others to show you. Okay, so here's an air card. And this is the immigration card. So you can see the air element has got the clouds and the rainbows at the bottom. Let me find a water card. Okay, here's celebration. Again, the last card in water. So you can see the water element down there. And you can also notice, I know it's a little probably hard to see on the video, but the number of the card and its element is printed on the bottom now, which we were missing that in the earlier editions. And then let me just find a fire card here. Okay, so this is number 1 in fire, renovation, probably the fieriest card in the deck. And this is really the card that is about burning everything down, starting over. So fire often comes in a complete, just as we were talking about people going through a difficult time, fire can like sweep through and just burn out all the old unnecessary stuff. And that's really what's going on as we enter the fire element. And I do just want to say, yes, I did get that lightning bolt of the channeled, download for the deck, but that came after 10 years of wandering around, being really lost, like trying a lot of different things. And I just want to say it wasn't like, oh, my life in New York ended, and then the next week I got this message from Spirit. I had to do a lot of searching and a lot of letting go and releasing. One of the things that happened in those 10 years was, we went through foreclosure with the mortgage crisis in 2008. So I came out, after 9/11, that was 2001. So 2008, 7 years later, boom, we lost everything again. And that was like a tsunami hitting after, the stuff that had happened with 9/11 and the .com. So, and I know I'm not alone. I know many people that are probably watching today have gone through unemployment or gone through having to downsize, or, you're probably in a position where your life has taken some somersaults. And so again, this tool is exactly for you. That's exactly what it's for, is to help see how can you navigate forward? How can you find your way, especially when things seem so strange and difficult and opposite of everything you had in your whole life, what you thought was going to happen. And then it all gets wiped away and it's like, now what do I do? But that's often the wonderful opportunity for a true spiritual opening. And to me, that's like the opening of a flower. Or if you think of the Douglas fir tree, those trees have these pine cones that only produce a new tree if there's been a forest fire. And so it's kind of like that, these great majestic trees, that the only way to make a new one is for the old ones to be burned down and eradicated. And that is part of the fire energy in the deck.
Those are all great things. Thank you so much, Sonya. There's such a bounty of information available through you and available through reading the deck. It's just, and I keep smiling, having taken your workshop a couple of times and fortunate enough to be local to the Colorado area to do that. I have a deeper love for the cards than I did even originally. And I was in a place where I was searching for answers, lots of answers, when someone handed me this deck, and it started a new phase in my journey. So while we're doing this, and I know you just showed us a couple of cards, but with the intention of helping our listeners out, our viewers out a little bit, I'd like to pull a couple of cards and just get a real quick reading from the creator. So this with as the intention of messages that might be really powerful for our viewers or our readers here. So what I've got here is the purification card, and that is in fire. So Sonya, help us out. What that might be? What might be the message for us there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, purification is actually the second card in fire. And I think it's one of the most powerful cards. So if you're watching this show, if you're lucky enough to be here today, it might be the perfect time for you to look at what are the old toxins that are happening in your life. And often these can be, it can feel like a kind of suffering, like a yearning for something that you don't have. And that might show up in the form of, resentment against somebody who stood in your way or hurt you in some way. It might be jealousy of others who have what you think you want or you deserve. It might be a form of even self-loathing, self-hatred, where that energy of negativity is turned in on yourself. But at any rate, the message of the purification card is through the story of the peacock. And the peacock is one of our metaphysical teacher animals. And so this character eats and finds these poison snakes that are very, very beautiful, but they're deadly poison. But he doesn't die. He instead turns that into nutrition and grows this incredibly glorious peacock tail. So how does that teach us what we do with the impurities in our life. So I like to think that the snake, or this, brilliant, dazzling thing, is the thing that our mind keeps obsessing over, that our heart feels hurt over and over and over again. So that's our toxin. So if you find, what is it that I'm just, keep going back to and can't get over, that's the thing that wants to be purified. And so how do we do that? Well, we identify what it is, and sometimes it's about forgiving ourselves or another person. Sometimes it's about being more compassionate and more tolerant of others who are different from us. Sometimes it's about being kind as opposed to, being competitive. So it's really kind of looking at what's the source of the impurity, and then how can spirit help us clean that up so that we can become radiant and beautiful like that peacock. So that's the first message for you, if you're listening, is to find that toxin and look at how the peacock turned it into something beautiful, and then start on the path of how you can do that within yourself.
I definitely have a connection with that one today. And I personally have been thinking about detox and getting some of the nasty stuff out of my system. So that's a very real world, very in the moment interpretation for me. So thank you for sharing that. I'd like to expand our discussion just a little bit to include some of the amazing other things that Sonya offers. And what I mean by that is the artwork of the cards is available in all sorts of different forms. And could you share with us a little bit, Sonya, about where people can go to not only get the deck, obviously, but also where they could go to really take in the artwork that you've put into it and the other things that you're creating?
Thank you, Jason. Well, the main store that I have is Artware, ARTWARE.com. And that's got the Transformation Oracle, as well as greeting cards and just a number of different products. I have everything up to, probably $3,000 huge giant mural sized paintings, but there's everything from $6 greeting cards in between. So that's the first stop that you might want to make. I'm also available on Facebook at Sonya Shannon Artist. So I have my page there. And my name is Sonya, Shannon, just so that you get the spelling right. There's also a website that has my blog on it, and that's Sonya-Shannon, so Sonya-Shannon.com. And so for people that are interested in how do I make this art, like how does this work, there's little stories that I have up there showing behind the scenes and step by step, and some videos. And let's see, I'm Mystic Visionary Art on Instagram. Mystic Visionary Art or Artist. Oops, I'm forgetting what the name is. I'll have to get back to you on that one, Jason. But those would be the starting points.
Perfect. Thank you. And the new printing of the Transformation Oracle in the cool treasure box, which means I'm going to now own another version, which I'm happy to do, honestly. That's available on Amazon and through other channels. Can you tell us more about where people can get that?
Yeah, Amazon is probably right now the best place to get it. I will have it online on my site as well. And there's also, Transformation Oracle has its own website, which, oops, I should have mentioned that in the main list. It's transformation-oracle.com. So transformation-oracle.com. And what I want to say about that site is the people who have taken the class, I do teach workshops, they've all done some wonderful research and added to the toolkit that's available for you to use. Jason, actually, you did such a beautiful job with a video tool to help people. And I think that you can also read people's deep stories of transformation. That might be really inspiring, whether you get the deck or not. Just to go onto that page and find a reader is the button you want to look for. And then underneath that is the transformation stories. And just to start to read what some people have been through in their lives, and then how the deck has maybe helped them. And I just wanted to show the book too. The book came out really amazing. It's got illustrations. It shows you how to do different spreads in color. It relates it to old-fashioned playing cards. And then every single, and then I do, Jason's project was actually on the phases of transformation, right? Jason, you did this wonderful piece about how to read the phases, and we now have those illustrated in the book, as well as there's a page for every single card that tells you, you know, deeper meanings, what the symbolism is, and it goes into a lot more detail. So that's now available.
That is an amazing installment in the book. I love to see the upgrades. I can't wait to devour the new information as well. And one of the things that that you just touched on is that the Oracle, while you can open it up and read with it right away, it's so deep and there's so much going on that that even as you progress, I've been using the Oracle for more than a couple years at this point, and I'm always finding new levels of ways to read, or new things in the artwork or in the phases or the elements. There's just always something expanding, and it's really useful stuff. So thank you for adding that information and sharing the website. I think that the transformation dash Oracle is an amazing opportunity for people to really connect with how other people have started out and how they've become certified readers, actually, because you do have an army of certified readers. So definitely, yep, there we go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jason, I do have the pamphlet is available on the transformation-oracle.com website. So this is like just explains what we do in the course. And I have had people come in from Montana and Wyoming, and I've got somebody flying in from California now. So if you do want to come, it's a weekend-long intensive workshop. Jason actually did a lovely video of it. I was going to just say that it's in Old Town Littleton at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, an absolutely amazing healing center. And the next one is going to be happening right before we go into solstice. It's December 8th and 9th. And Old Town Littleton is so cute. It's all dressed up with lights and holiday happy stuff. So if you did want to do a destination weekend to just get away before the madness of the holidays, you may want to think about it. Or if you're local, please, we'd love to see you in the class.
Perfect. Great. So many wonderful things that you offer, and it's hard to get all of that kind of cramped in. So we'll make sure that we put some links in the comments section. So please be sure to check that out. And from my heart and my soul, Sonya, thank you so much for the creation of this Oracle and sharing it with the world. And you've had so many projects going on and so many different things, and you have provided so much joy and direction for others, and really empowered them to have simple tools that let them get their answers and direction. So just as someone who has experienced the Transformation Oracle through the channels that it was meant for, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. It's such an honor to be on this show and to have had, I mean, I don't even think of you as a student. I think of you as one of the great leaders and teachers. And I think a lot of the people that do come to the class are like yourself. They're people who are really doing big things for the community. And I'm just so grateful to you for your part in helping all the people that you help to find their way in life. That's such a beautiful gift. And I'm honored to be part of that with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's we are singing each other's praises. I love it. We have the same mission, and it's great that our paths have crossed and allowed us to amplify how we can reach out to people. And thank you so much for being on the show. And I look forward to getting my hands on the new version. That's very exciting. And I know you've got some other projects coming up, so I'll just give you guys a little foreshadowing that you will be seeing Sonya again for a number of different reasons, most likely. So if you'd like some more information, please feel free to reach out to the Spiritual Handyman, or you can reach out through Sonya's channels directly. And thank you so much, folks, for watching. And Sonya, one last time, thank you for being with us today. And best of luck with your new ventures. And everybody, we will see you on the next show.